مرحبا جميعا. Hello zusammen, всем привет, and hello everyone. Strikoder here, and welcome back to a new episode of the OSCP journey. In today's episode, we're gonna solve a medium Windows machine on HackTheBox called Signed, where we're gonna deeply dive and deal with MS or Microsoft SQL. So let's get started. Make sure to copy the IP and run the Nmap. So I run that, and we see MSSQL open, and that's it. So we get a little bit lower and we see a user and a pass. So let me make sure export all of them or set env. So Scott. Do we have special character? I don't think hashtag is a special character, but however, I'm gonna add this. Yeah, it is. Alrighty. So where would you go from here? We can try using NXC. This was on another machine. User path, but I'm going to try authenticating with local auth and without local auth. So it's with local auth authenticating. And now we can use -- help and see what would where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? You can use a query actually. Let's try and query something. For instance, -q for instance enum impersonate could not find that, so probably it should be select something that we could query. Actually, let me try ncat VLP. Let's go port 80 and let's get our IP. I'm gonna paste that. And as far as I can recall, actually before using the netcat or responder, let me just test select is server 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 role member, I believe, and sysadmin. I can't recall if it was like that. So yeah, it's working, and we see 0 if it was 1. Then we are a server admin. What can we do as well? We can local auth database log. I mean, there is nothing else we can do. We can try getting the SAM or the LSA. Let's try that. SAM. Actually, if we had one, maybe we could, if we had enough permissions, we can try and execute a specific command. Who am I? We still have nothing, so xb is not xb execute command is not enabled. What can we do as well? Let me check. We can try RID brute. And we get some few stuff. So let's double check. From the 500, here we get the administrator. Usually, in few cases IRL, maybe the administrator would be renamed to something else. And from 1000 and above, you get the created stuff, not the by default by the Active Directory or Windows. So We have 101. So here probably are groups, HR, IT, finance, developers, support, and here are the users. And here we see server 2005. All right. Let me check the uh, M4 module, right? Yep. So M, actually let's go L because it's a new NXC and they have, I believe, new modules. So let's go with M, impersonate. Let's try that. No users can be impersonated or rights found. Enum links. So if there is a linked server and I believe that's referring to ours, if I'm not mistaken. And let's try logins. So here are the low privilege stuff. We can enable CMD shell. Let's try that. Okay, there are few logins, both of them enabled. Actually, let's try and sign in. MSSQL client. But here we need the password. I believe it was like this. Maybe best. Or like this. Yeah, like this. Do we need local auth or Windows auth? We don't. I cannot recall. Actually, since we are connected, let's stay here. And let's try enum logins. So yeah, it works. Yeah, we have Scott. Can we impersonate him? No, we cannot. Even though if we could, he's not enabled. However, here we see that he's enabled. That's strange. Security admin, setup admin, process disk admin. All of this is, as they say in German, einfach null, or they are useless. So where we go from here? Do we have other stuff? Enable CMD shell. Let's try that. Enable CMD shell -o action enable. Failed to enable. You don't have permissions. That's okay. Okay, I don't mind that. On a linked server, we can try to coerce that. That's probably, oops, that's probably a new module because I haven't used that before. Let's try that. And there is the prev, of course. No, I have the, okay. So probably here we get the hash. Let me try responder. So if you are preparing for the OSCP, make sure to use the -v capital A in order not to poison. And our IB again. So yeah, so it tries to connect using, let's try that manually. For instance, select our IB. Probably we would need like this. Strikoder, a non-existent share. And here we go. So, before moving on, let's try the last one, with the loop privileges, MSQL underscore priv dash o action privesc. Okay, we are done from here. There is none. Okay, so probably here is our way. Where do we go from here? Let me move into here and vim hashes.ntlm2. I prefer to save my stuff like this because whenever I search for NTLM2, I would get the hashcat-m number, and fingers crossed that it won't take a lot of time because I'm recording and the CPU would be dying. So here is the pass. It's full with special characters, so export all, pass2 equals to this, chunk export all, user2 equals to MSSQL service. Now let's try again with NXC, with user, not user. Does it authenticate with local? Oh, wait, what? Login failed for user MSSQL. Have I copied that correctly? MSSQL service. Do I need the sign? I don't think so. It's part of the hash. Or maybe, wait, let me check. Maybe it's not using the local auth, but it's authenticating to the DC. So local auth is a user on the machine, and AD or Active Directory authentication, you remove this. So let's try this. Now we need Windows auth or something like that. No? I forgot. Windows auth with one. That's strange. Whenever you have two parts, you usually add two dashes. So we are now connected. Can we do the course part again? Actually, let's try do this without the local auth. We cannot. Now the course part. Do we have that up yet? No, we don't. We don't. So responder again, please. Actually, jumping between windows or Tmax panels made me forget what I wanted really to do. Okay, course. Here is it. The same listening. User 2, pass 2. And we should get... We got it. Now we get the pass and... Okay, now there are a lot of hashes. I'm gonna turn that. So vim hashes 2.ntlm2 hashcat again, but with hashes 2. That's why I prefer to save Nmap results. I cannot recall we had SSH. No, we don't. So we need to take benefit of this pass, I mean, which is... Wait, what? Ah, okay. I'm doing the same thing for the same user, yeah. We don't need that. No, probably That's not what we need. Let's try again with -L over here. Maybe we can enable CMD. Or let's try enum impersonate. Nothing found. Enum enable, let's try. -O action enable. We still don't have any permission. Okay, where do we go from here? So probably what do we got here? Let's try echo our user 2. So my thoughts currently, since we have an MSSQL service, then it's a service account, then it should be Kerberosable, or at least Kerberosable. Whenever I see a service account, I think about Kerberosting attack or Kerberos, but we don't have any Active Directory services. So to take advantage of that, probably we'd need to forge a ticket, which is using ticketer, I believe. Ticket. Yep, in-packet ticketer using this stuff. So probably the last time I used that was in corp.com. Probably that was corp.com machine. I cannot recall, but here we go. We use this. So we need the NT hash. We have the password. Let's fill these. Password to NTLM hash. Actually, I forgot how to do that. So either you can ask ChatGPT and let him give the command. ChatGPT. Actually, let's go with cloud. I prefer cloud more with pentesting. We need to sign in. Let me pause a little bit. Here is cloud. So give me the command on Linux that would convert a password in a password into its NTLM. You need probably to import Python. Okay, so there are a couple of stuff. SMB encrypt. Do we have that? Let me send this to there and turn this off. No, we don't have that. Okay. So I'm going to get this echo password. So it's going to be pass2. Is that it? It seems to me, yep, if I'm not mistaken. So probably it should be like this. Maybe with -N it would differ. So with -N it differs. I believe we need the -N. Let's keep the dash in because it removes the spaces. Get this. If it didn't work, I'm going to get back to here. So NT-hash. We need just to fill the gaps in here. So the domain SID, how do we get that? How do we get that? Probably we need to connect. And in here we can select. Actually, can we enumerate through an XC? Let me check. So it's not gonna be here. We need to ask for help. Dash dash username, ignore. It should be with RID. No brute force. So mapping and enumeration, we only have the RID. There is no SID. Do we get the SID? Maybe I would make a pull request to make a new one. Okay, so we need to connect. That's fine. And in here, I cannot recall maybe user SID, and then I would pick up signed developers, maybe. Maybe S users. So it's S UID, SID, S users underscore SID, and you get this. I don't believe we need the B. Then we need to convert it again. Let's go convert from SID to binary, maybe. Not to binary. It should be the other way around. Hex. So this is hex. So I would put this into here, put my hex in here. So what we actually do in here, we import Python in this case. We import struct. From hex, we make that into bytes. Then we divide that. So the first, for instance, 1 bit, or the first one bit, then from the second to the seventh, and so on, you get your SID. Let me try this on this. So we get that. And the 1107 is for the developer, I believe. Oh, is 1107? Is the developers. So I'm gonna stick this into here, remove this. The domain sign.hackthebox. The SPN I believe it was signed MSSQL, or maybe no, the SBN should be like this: MSSQL, then forward slash, then the name of the machine. So it's DC01. So like this, DC01 dot sign hack the box. So I'm just trying to copy this, and we would need to call that Strikoder ticket. In this case, let me make this. I cannot. Okay. I would add as well dash user ID that I would like to get the ticket for. MSSQL service. And the groups that I'm interested in. Domain users, domain admins, maybe. And what else? Let's go for the developers or IT. Maybe the IT. Because we've done machine where we had IT and developers, and the IT was the way for the privilege escalation. Let's try this. And Strikoder ticket. Unrecognized. Okie dokie, so invalid literal for integer. Do I need to reverse that? $11.05. Alright, that's strange. So invalid literal for integer with base 10 MSSQL service. Maybe let's try the integer for that, and it worked. So now we export our KRB this into this Strikoder. Then it's gonna be in bucket MSSQL client dash k sign dot hack the box dash MSSQL service at. So I'm trying just to repeat what above. DC01 dot sign dot hack the box dash Windows auth probably. No pass. But why? Name or service not known. Probably I had an issue. Had I exported that? Yes. I still have an issue. So we exported that. I ran that, got an error. Exported. Maybe if I put the KRB beforehand. Let me try this. KRB 5 cc name equals to Strikoder ticket dot cc cache. Still showed the same error. So let's read the error. Name or service not known. It refers to the host, port, family type, protocol flags, to the self.server, self.port, and it couldn't connect to the MSSQL. Maybe we need to add that into here. I don't think so. I haven't done that before. Let's try. Maybe DC. What was it? 01 and DC01 dot signed HackTheBox. Now we have a different issue. The login from an untrusted domain cannot be used with integrated authentication. Let me edit the etc hosts and try to remove this. With that effect, still the same issue. Probably now with this command we have an issue here. Let's try reverse this. Export again. Still having an issue. Okay, so I paused a little bit and played with the configs. So the issue was with the host name. If we add sign.hackthebox, get an error in here because it's not added into the etc host. Where did we had the old one? MSSQL service at this DC. Here we get the error because it tried to authenticate as that, and probably this is the wrong syntax, and this should be it. Now we are in. So after connecting, we type select star from OPENROWSET bulk C users MSQL. Fingers crossed that the flag is in here. User.text. Then here single globe as Strikoder. Cannot find the path specific user. Still, there is something wrong. C users MSSQL. So probably like this. Here we find the user flag. Now, oops, see, let's try and see administrator. So since we had an access to privileged group, probably we can read this. If you need to escalate your privileges, you might try to read the history, maybe. So probably you would read, oops, I hate that really. Users, administrator, app data, roaming, probably. Oops. I wonder what was that. Okay, that's strange. So roaming, single club. Um, where was that? Maybe Microsoft. Windows 64. We don't. I cannot recall the place. Maybe PowerShell. PS read line. Console. I should have an issue in here. So I got that. I would search for a password and we have a password here. We can use this password to connect to a new user. However, we got our flags. So I tried to show that in case of the OSCP. Why I cannot submit that? Oh, okay. This is the root flag. And please guys, don't make sure to like, share, leave a comment and hit the subscribe button. That means a lot to me. Let's try and check. And here we go. So in case you wonder, that's not the intended way. The intended way is a little bit longer and a little bit more difficult and tougher to do, and it's gonna take a lot of time. So I believe this way is enough for the OSCP. The other ways are a little bit harder than the OSCP level. So that's why I would maybe rate this a bit hard, both of flags. Actually, the second flag with the intended way a little bit harder. That's my personal rating. However, let me know in the comment section what do you think the actual rating of this machine should be. So it has 3.2. Probably I would maybe rate that 3.5 or whatsoever. Thank you guys for watching and see you next time.